What is going on, everybody? It is Frank the Tank, and welcome to part 6 in this series in which we will be looking at every single Belmo ball and rating them out of 5 stars. For this one, we're looking at the Fate, and I can't believe we're that much closer to the journey. This is getting really exciting, and I can't wait to see what rating the Fate gets and what rating the journey gets. But I will say there is that small part of me that's kind of bothered about the fact that I don't have any of the overseas releases, because it doesn't feel like, I feel like I've complete everything, but not fully because of those overseas releases. But nothing I can do, and that's my own fault for not having snagged those way back when I probably first started bowling, because I know those. I remember seeing those bowling balls being around, and being able to acquire them was a lot easier because they weren't as expensive, and I've seen them around a lot more. So I should have snagged them when I had the chance, but here I am now regretting those not having taken advantage of those chances. So anyway. Yeah, we're going to be taking a look at the Fate, and before we do, let's actually get a quick little recap of where we are with every other Belmo ball. So, if you remember, it all started with the Timeless, and we ended up getting a 2 out of 5 with that, and then with the Drive, I expected a small improvement, and that's exactly what we got. 2.5 out of 5, and then we moved to the Pro Motion, which I thought was going to be an even bigger improvement over that, because it was a new ball, new core, new cover, and they basically started from scratch and made a new ball. But as it turns out, it ended up getting, shockingly, the exact same number as the Timeless, but the questions that I answered yes and no were different from those of the Timeless. So yeah, both bowling balls ended up getting 2 out of 5 for different reasons. So then we moved to the Trend, and this is where I expected a big improvement because it is a pro ball, and pro balls are, that is where I live. So yeah, that's exactly what ended up happening. I ended up with the 4 out of 5, almost there. And then the Trend 2, I was a little bit, I just didn't know where I was going to stand with that one, but I knew it was going to be good because it was my favorite ball up until the Fate came out. So yeah, it ended up getting a tie with the Trend, and that kind of caught me by surprise a little bit too, because the Trend 2, for me personally, was only ever good on the fresh and never for when the lane started to dry out. And the Trend was good for that. It was good for the fresh, and it was good for when the lanes would start to dry. So you'd think that the Trend would be a little higher than the Trend 2, but that didn't end up happening. So that is the quick little recap. Now we will take a look at the Fate. So here is the 10 strikes with the Fate. Okay, now that we have seen those 10 strikes with the Fate, man, there's a reason why that ball became my favorite, and you are going to find out why. So let's do these 10 questions right now. Okay, question number 1. Does the length and the shape match up with me? Indeed it does. Now, I will say this. When I threw my very first couple of shots with the Fate, I did have a bit of trouble with it at first because it wouldn't grab at the lane. It struggled to turn, and I thought, you know what? It's probably that reactive gloss finish. So I just need to get a bunch of games on this ball, get some oil on that cover, and that'll over time we'll start seeing that reaction, and that is exactly what ended up happening. And this ball turned out to be great in terms of matching up with me. The length and the shape was fantastic. So question number 2, does it carry? Yes, it does. I have yet to have had a problem with the Fate leaving me a 7-10, 10, 9-pin, 4-pin, 2-pin, you name it. I have not had a problem with carry with this ball. The next question, number 3, do the colors help? Yes, they do. And surprisingly, that blue, like crystally looking cover, it surprisingly isn't too difficult for me, which I thought it would be. I thought that was kind of my concern, because you see bowling balls like the IQ Tour Emerald, that ball, it was hard because of how, you guys saw how that ball looks. It made it difficult for me to see how the ball was rotating down the lane. And that was because of that green color that they put on it. I don't even know what it's called. But the main point is that that green color scheme on the IQ Tour Emerald made it difficult for me to see the rotation, and because of that, I struggled with, that connected to question number 1 right there, the length and the shape matching up with me. I couldn't see anything because of that color, and I was concerned with that when I threw the Fate, but it turns out I added the pink grips on there to match the writing. I know, kind of dumb, but it ended up helping because I could see the rotation. And yeah, that was I don't want to say that the pink grips definitely added to me being able to see the rotation, but yeah, even if I would have put like black grips that you can't really see them when the ball is turning down the lane, I could still see how the ball was rotating. So yeah, the colors definitely helped. And then moving on to question number 4, is it good on fresh? Yes, it is, but I will say this. It's because of how the house shot that I have at this place that I like to bowl at, that it is good on the fresh. But I can almost guarantee you that it wouldn't be good on any heavy oil patterns. If your house shot is one of those ones that have a lot of oil, this ball probably wouldn't be good for that. You would definitely have to wait for the lanes to dry. So it is only good on the fresh for me because of the conditions that I have. So yeah, my house shot it's not too little, it's not too much, it's just right. So anyway, is it number 5, is it good for transition? Oh hell yes it is. Belmo talked about that with the Fate, that this ball is very, very good for when the lanes start to transition, and indeed, he was not wrong about that. I actually tested that out. I made a review about the Fate, and I actually tested that out. I tested it on the fresh, and then I tried it on the transition. I even took it to my local bowling center, the one that's closer to me. I tried it out on there because I know they always have the they don't oil their lanes all the time, so you get what you get. And I got a really messed up lane where I had to move pretty far to the left, and the ball was still making it down lane, and it was still easy to get some strikes. So yeah, this ball, without a doubt, is good for the transition. And I would recommend this ball to you guys if you needed a ball for when the lanes dry up, but this ball is now discontinued. However, it's not to the point where it is discontinued and difficult to find and super expensive. It's still out there, so you can still get yourself one. Question number 6, does the ball give me immediate confidence? Yes, it does. I put that ball in my hand and I am ready to strike time and time again. And that's kind of a shock to me because I don't know that I answered yes for any of the other Belmo balls. I probably did for the Trend 2 and the Trend, but I know I did answer no for it on the Pro Motion, the Timeless, and the Drive. So I think this ball is definitely going on that list too, of having answered yes to number 6. And does it help me stay focused? Yeah, I could use this ball the entire day and never lose focus. Like from the beginning, but like I said, that's only because of how my house shot is laid out, that I don't have a problems with it to begin with. And then of course, when the lane starts to dry up, this ball suddenly makes everything easy when I have to keep going left. It turns this ball, basically, do you guys remember the dart code? I've said this before. The dart code is aggressive as hell. It reacts a lot sooner than the Fate if we had to make comparisons, but it is definitely really, really strong around the corner, and rightfully so, because the Dart Code had a differential of 0.058. That is an insanely high number compared to the Fate only having 0.053. So for me, the Fate is like a Dart Code if it became symmetrical, you know, if they really toned it down. And again, it makes sense because the differential is 0.053. It's a symmetrical core. It's a different core as well compared to the Dart Code. It's asymmetrical and it's got the Rad4 cores. So yeah. Anyway, question number 8. Am I confident enough to use this in League? Yes, and I have used it in League, and I can prove it because there's a bunch of League videos of me having used this ball in League, and I've done a really fantastic job with it. So let's see. Question number 9. Am I confident enough to use this in a tourney? Yes, because I have done that. If you guys, any of you who have kept up all these years, you probably might remember this, or you may have come across it. Any of you who are new here probably don't know about it, but that ball, I used it in a tournament called the Morgan Hill Masters, and it's in the same place where I like to bowl. And instead of the house shot, they laid out the chromium oil pattern. And it's a little bit more difficult than the house shot, but it's not like an insanely difficult challenge pattern. I tried it. I knew I wasn't going to try it on the fresh because there was a lot. It was a lot more units of oil that they laid out for the chromium pattern compared to our house shot, and I waited until like maybe game 5. I can't remember. You guys would have to see it. It's on there. Check out my leagues and tournaments playlist. It's in there. Morgan Hill Masters, and yeah, I waited till like the later half of the block and. I used it and it was working. It was doing so well for me because, like I said, I knew that this ball is especially good for when the lanes start to dry out. And I knew, okay, I'm going to pick up this ball and we're going to see what happens. And it was working in every way that I imagined. So, yeah, I am confident enough to use this in a tourney, and I've used it at in a tourney that was with the sports pattern or challenge pattern. I used it on the house shot. I've used it on tourneys in the house shot, I think, off camera. And yeah, it's a good ball for me in tourney, so I can answer number 9 with complete honesty. Yes, I'm confident enough to use this in a tournament. Does this ball give me room to miss? Yes, and you guys saw that as well. I missed left, it held. I missed to the right, it came back. This ball is just everything. So there you go. We finally got one. It had to happen at some point. Perfect 5 out of 5. And you can put it on the board. There it is. The Fate is my favorite ball. Clearly, after all of this, we now know. The Trend 2 is my second favorite. If you had to make me pick between the Trend and Trend 2, honestly. The Trend 2 is my second favorite. The Fate is clearly my number 1 favorite Belmo ball out of all of this stuff. Wow. I kind of expected this. I mean, the Fate, this makes sense because for me, the ball is great to begin with. It's great for later when the lanes start to dry. That means that I could use this ball from beginning to end. That'll save me a lot of room in the bag. But there you go. The Fate ends up with a 5 out of 5, and this definitely makes things even more interesting because up next is none other than the Journey. So we're going to see what happens, but that's going to be a while before that comes out because obviously it would be kind of dumb if I threw the ball for one day and then did this rating thing. So I have the idea that I'm going to maybe do like 2 videos of the Journey. One as like, you know, the Journey itself, kind of like a review video like I've done with other bowling balls. And then the other one is probably going to be like a comparison video. So that way it'll give me some time. It'll give me a couple of days of throwing this bowling ball. I'll have put a decent amount of games on it already. So that's probably what I'm going to do before I actually release this rating video on the Journey to see where it ends up. So I just want to let you guys know of that. But there you go. The Fate got the perfect 5 out of 5 for me. Yes, sir. So anyway, what out of all of these bowling balls, even if you haven't tried them, if you could make like a very educated guess, because remember, you know your game better than anybody else, right? It's your game. You know your preferences. What ball for you is your 5 out of 5? And which ball for you was the worst? I'd love to hear from you guys. clearly the fate for me was my 5 out of 5. The trend and trend 2 ended up being my second favorites. But again, if I had to pick between the trend 2 and the trend, I picked the trend 2 over the trend. So anyway, that is it. That is the rating for the Fate. Thank God I got 5 out of 5 because I love that ball. It's always in my bag. It always comes with me to league. I always take it to practice. It's versatile for me, good on the fresh, good for when the lane's dry. Hasn't failed me. So there you go. That's the Fate. Now the next one is going to be the Journey, but again, there's going to be a delay on that one. So don't worry though. Like I said, we have a couple more videos with the Journey coming out before that. So yeah, there you go. I'm Frank the Tank. That was the Fate. See you guys real soon with the Journey.